beast! Ah!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Not the Bees, the Nicolas Cage filmography podcast. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Megs.
And this week we watched 1993's Red Rock West. It was directed by John Dahl and it has 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Michael, a former Marine, drives his way out to Wyoming to work with a buddy in an oil field, but the foreman won't give him the job because of an issue he has with his knee from an injury when he was at war. Michael stops at a gas station on his way out of town and spends his last $5 on gas. The attendant tells him to try a town a few miles away called Red Rock. Maybe there's a job there. Michael stops at a local bar and orders a coffee. The owner, Wayne, asks if he's Lyle from Dallas and hear about a job. Michael lies and says yes, but it turns out the job Wayne wants to hire him for is to kill his wife, Suzanne. He offers $5,000 and describes his wife's movement at their ranch and how he wants the job to look. Michael goes to the ranch. He sneaks in and waits until she comes home when it's night. After startling Suzanne, he tells her about her husband mistaking him and what he was hired for, but says he'll leave if she lays him another $5,000, and she agrees. He then writes a letter to the sheriff's office that the bar owner hired a killer. His wife may also have done the same, and it's not a joke, before dropping it in a mailbox and heading towards the highway. As Michael is leaving Red Rock, he hits a man on the road. He does the right thing and takes him to a nearby hospital in Red Rock. The doctors and nurses tell him to stay because it was a car accident. Michael tries to sneak away because his $10,000 is in his glove box just outside. But as he does, the deputies show up. Turns out the man he hit was actually shot twice, and the sheriff of the town is also Wayne, who owns the bar. Michael makes a run for it. Wayne gets his rifle and chases him through the woods. Michael tumbles down a ravine onto another road and is almost hit by a car. After telling the driver his car died and he fell, he asks for a ride to the nearest gas station so he can get back to his car. The man agrees, and along the way we learn that he is also a former Marine from a different unit, and the two bond a little. The man drives him back into Red Rock, and they stop at the same bar. Michael is nervous, but the man says, "Let me buy you a beer. I'll get you back to your car. I'm just late and need to do a thing real quick." Inside, the bartender takes their order, and the man asks if Wayne is around. Tell him Lyle from Dallas has arrived. Michael excuses himself to the bathroom and hops out the window just as Wayne is arriving. Seeing this is not the same man he hired that morning, both he and Lyle begin to search for Michael, who has climbed onto the roof of the building rather than running. As the two men search the lot and surrounding area, Michael uses a 2x4 as a bridge between the roof and the top of a truck. He makes it just as the truck begins to move. On the highway, Michael climbs down, scaring the driver. He gives him a story about hiding from his wife. He wasn't supposed to be at the bar. The driver takes sympathy on him and says he's heading north and offers a ride. Michael accepts, but asks him to drop him off at the back of Wayne's ranch. Inside, he tells Suzanne the events of the last few hours, and it turns out the man Michael hit was her lover. Michael begs her to come with him. He'll keep her safe. She agrees, and they drive off in her Jeep. When they stop for gas, she takes some of the $80 remaining that Michael has and goes next door to the bar. They drink, and when they go to leave, Suzanne convinces him to spend the night at the Comfort Inn next door, and they sleep together and make plans to go to Mexico. In the morning, Suzanne convinces Michael to go back to Red Rock. Wayne's money is actually her money. It's her inheritance, and she thinks he hired a killer so he could keep it all, but he keeps a sum of cash in his office at his bar. They should go take it. They break into the bar and office easily enough, but the safe is empty. Just as they begin arguing, Wayne arrives and they hide in the closet. Wayne begins looking around his office, suspicious with a few things out of place, when two of the deputies show up and tell him that he's under arrest. The man that he hit was shot twice. He had a wanted flyer in his pocket with Wayne's face on it. He's wanted by the FBI for stealing almost $2 million from a steel mill. They also received an anonymous letter that he hired a killer to take him to, and they take him to the station. When it's clear, Michael and Suzanne leave the closet. The deputies left the flyer on the desk, and we see that she is also pictured. She tells Michael that she didn't know anything. Wayne just came home one day and said to pack bags. There should be $500,000 in the safe, but Michael doesn't care about the money. He opens the door to leave, and Lyle is there and hits him in the face. Lyle takes them both hostage and zip ties them and drives them away from the bar. He creates a distraction by setting an old house on fire to get the deputies out of the station to free Wayne. He kills the only deputy still there, tells Wayne he knows about the money, and he'll free him for half of it. Wayne agrees. In the car, Michael still has Suzanne's keys, which have a pocket knife on them. He gets his free and goes to get her out of the car when Lyle and Wayne catch them. Michael puts her back in the car and puts the keys in her hand to cut herself free. Lyle puts Wayne in the back and makes Michael drive. Wayne takes them to a graveyard and tells them where to dig. Lyle makes Michael dig up a chained box. Wayne refuses to open it until Lyle drops the gun. They agreed to be partners, and Wayne doesn't have a gun. Besides, if he shoots, the groundskeeper will hear them and call the cops. Lyle agrees and places the gun on the ground while sliding the clip out of it. Michael sees this, but no one else does. Meanwhile, Suzanne is working the knife on her zip ties. Wayne opens the box and pulls out a gun. He makes Lyle move away and goes to drive off after grabbing a bag of money from the box and picking up Lyle's discarded gun, but he doesn't have the keys. He makes Lyle toss the keys, but Lyle misses the throw, forcing Wayne to bend over for them. As Wayne stands back up, Lyle drops a hunting knife from his sleeve and launches it at Wayne, sticking him in the side of the neck. Wayne's gun fires into the air as he falls, and Michael tackles Lyle to the ground. The groundskeeper has indeed heard the shot, and his wife calls the cops. Suzanne is finally free and goes to the car where her husband is struggling with a gun flailing on one hand and the other hand on the handle of the knife in his neck. They struggle over the gun, resulting in another shot being fired wide. Michael and Lyle are fighting near some old headstones. Lyle tries to strangle Michael with the chain from the box, but Michael ends up pushing him onto a marker that has a sword sticking up and impales him on it before walking back to the car and Suzanne. As he makes it back to her, she is now holding a gun on him. Just as it looks like she won't shoot him, Kyle suddenly emerges from behind Michael, and Suzanne empties the clip into him and drops the gun. Sirens are heard in the distance. Michael sees a train coming and tells Suzanne they need to go. She grabs the money and Lyle's empty gun from the front seat of the car and hurries after Michael. He gets into the train and then he helps her on. She pulls Lyle's gun and tells Michael to get off, but he refuses. He knows the gun is empty, but says nothing. He gets her to admit that she shot the man he hit with his car because he found out about her. Instead, he picks up the bag of money and threatens to dump it. She pulls the trigger and he says that's right and goes to the door of the train car. She offers to split it with him and apologizes, but he throws it all off the train anyway. Then he pushes her off the train after it. The deputies catch up to her immediately. As the train drives off, Michael sits for the first real rest in hours and sees one sack of cash stuck in the door of the train car. He sticks it into his pocket and says, "Adios, Red Rocks," and closes his eyes as the train rolls down the track into the morning light. The end. Megan.
Yeah.
What did you think about this movie?
I really wanted to like it, but the entire time I was watching it, like what's the point? What is the point? Either way, Suzanne's lover would have ended up dead because she shot him twice. So even if he hadn't stumbled into that bar, he would have died.
Yeah.
The lover would have died. Like, the only thing that he did was thwart 2 separate murder attempts and get 2 other people killed and get another person arrested while barely making it away by the skin of his teeth with like $5,000.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't know. What is the point? What was the point? What was the point of him? What was the point of his presence?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's so dull. And I also wanted to like it. But it's a very straightforward film noir. It's not.
It is.
There's no twist. There's nothing unique to keep it going.
Other than he can't get the fuck out of this town.
Right.
That's it.
So in the very beginning, when he goes to the oil field, he tells the guy about his leg, and his friend is like, "Why did you tell him about your leg?" And he's like, "Well, he would have found out anyway." And he's like, "Yeah, but by then you'd have the job." And he's like, "It just wouldn't be right." Okay, so then why is it right for you to take a job to shoot a chick? And even if you have no intention of shooting her, you're taking the job under false pretenses. So what the fuck, man?
All for $5,000. Then instead of just skipping town, you go to warn her
Yeah.
But then, wait a second. You actually don't warn her. You go there to exploit her for more money. So, like, which is it? Are you trying to save her life or are you trying to exploit her?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? And then, after you get your 10 grand and you go to leave and you hit that guy, why didn't you just drop him at the doors?
Yeah.
And just fucking go. Like, I don't. Why, like, I don't understand his character's motivation. Like, I could understand it for the reasons that you just brought up, is like, well, you know, honesty is best policy. He would have found out anyways, blah, blah, blah.
Right, but then he totally
Immediately
chucks that
abandons.
right out the window. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, what is the point? Like, I don't understand the point of this movie. I don't understand the point of the story. I mean, it would be one thing if he, like, went into this town and, like, became a hero and, like, thwarted a terrible sheriff and blah, blah, blah. But, like, all he did was further complicate a murder plot that ended up with one of the two people dead anyways, and additional people also fucking dead.
Yeah.
And he walked away with very little money, multiple attempts on his own life, and, like, just continued to, like, I don't know, like,
He should have gotten back in the car after he took the $5,000 from Wayne and just driven the fuck off.
just gone. Because it's not like Suzanne was a worthwhile character anyway. She was also a piece of shit.
Right, and her turn where she betrays him, you saw coming from 2 miles away.
Yeah. Like, the second they're at the gas station, and she's like, well, do we have to go right now? And he's like, I got like $80 on me. Like, we gotta leave. Like, we gotta get as far as we can on that. And she's like, I'm just gonna go to the bar and buy booze for us. And then I'm gonna get you
And then
drunk
I'm gonna
and make you
seduce
spend more money
you
at the
and-
Comfort Inn.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly the only, and, like, he's not even a redeemable character because he's not a redeemable character, but, like, the only character that's really, like, I feel like thrown into this mix is Lyle, who's played by Dennis Hopper, who's amazing. All of the performances are great, by the way. Don't get me wrong. The acting in this film is top notch, amazing. I can see why it has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just don't think that the story itself has enough fiber to it to, like, actually be a good movie. And, like, Lyle's whole character, like, I think it's a Vietnam, they're Vietnam vets, I think.
Lyle is.
Yeah.
Michael was hurt in the bombing in Beirut.
Right. So yeah, like, he's just like a veteran who, like, I mean, he's still a bad guy. Like, he's still, like, probably has killed a bunch of people before. It's clear to me, at least from the way that he plays the character, that this is probably not the first time that he's killed people for money.
Right.
But still, like, if I were gonna say, like, and any of the characters were quote unquote innocent bystanders, or, like, main characters were innocent bystanders, it'd be him. Like, he had a straightforward job, man. He was gonna go to this little town in Wyoming. He was gonna do this job for the sheriff and, like, get some cash and, like, just keep rolling. And then, like, that would have been it. Like, her lover would have died. Suzanne would have died. Everyone else would have lived. But instead, we have one deputy that was murdered. We have Wayne who's died. Lyle who's died. Her lover who's, like, we have so many other people that died because of, like, I don't know. Like, it was a bad situation to begin. Like, he just made it worse. Like, there's no lesson in this movie. There's no
Right,
like,
and
turning point.
And there are all of these options given to Michael to get the fuck out of the situation. And he keeps himself in that situation, which makes him irredeemable. Like, you're not a redeemable character.
Yeah.
When you could have just fucking left. And you're not a redeemable character by getting drunk and going to the hotel and having sex with her. And you're not a redeemable character by agreeing to go back to get more money.
Yeah. And, like, literally the whole time I was watching this movie, I was like, tell me a man wrote this movie without telling me that a man wrote this movie. Because he's literally only thinking with his dick.
Yeah.
The entire time. Make money, get bitches. Like, that's it. That's his entire motivation. And he can't get out of this stupid town that's literally telling, like, he's given the option so many times to make a different choice, to make a better choice. And I mean, I don't know, maybe that's the overall underlying message of this movie, is that men just need to make better choices. I'm just going to say that this is in 1993, and that's very likely not the message that the filmmakers meant for anyone to take away from this movie.
Yeah.
It was probably more so like, avoid small towns at all costs. So I don't know. I really wanted to like this movie, and while I am a fan of the acting in this movie, I think that everyone delivered their performances. It's so thin on the plot that it's not good to me. And it's only an hour and 38 minutes, and it felt like it took 4 hours to watch.
It took so long to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, though?
I mean, I agree with everything that you've said. So, what would you rate this movie?
Well, I mean, it's not going to be anything close to what, Rotten Tomatoes would give it as a 95. Like, I don't even want to give it a C. Like, it is a very middle of the road kind of movie. But, like, and even though the acting is there, for me, it's just, there's no story to me. So for me, like, I feel like it's a D.
I was going to give it a C. It is so middle of the road, like straight down the middle. Could we compromise on a C minus?
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. What do you think of the caginess of this movie?
I thought he was so when I learned we were going to watch a movie that had like 80s Nicolas Cage and 80s Dennis Hopper, I thought we were in for a ride.
Yeah. I was expecting a ride as well.
But Cage is so milquetoast in this. He's so straight. He's such the straight man that it loses any sense of interestingness.
I think that's fair. I would honestly say that his co-stars like well upstaged his performance.
I agree.
Even Laura Boyle, who I'm not a fan of in general.
Completely. Yeah. I am also not a fan of hers, but I think she did a very good job in this film.
Yeah.
I want to give him a C minus.
I think that's fair. It was really awesome to see JT Walsh in something else besides A Few Good Men, which is, I think, one of the only things I've ever seen him in. But he also did play like the same character. He's very monotone in anything that he does.
Yes.
I don't know why I enjoy seeing him. Maybe it's just because he's one of the very first, like, hey, it's that guys that I ever knew. But it was nice to see him. It was nice to see Dennis Hopper. I don't see a whole lot of stuff with him very often. Not by choice. I just don't really happen on them a lot. But he was a treat. Could you
imagine if they had cast Nicolas Cage in the Keanu Reeves role in Speed, and it was 90s Nick Cage versus 90s Dennis Hopper? How fucking amazing would that be?
That movie would have been insane.
That's what I was expecting out of this. That's what I wanted out of this. And I didn't get that.
I was expecting there to be like very high stakes kind of like urgency to this movie. And while there was urgency, like it really wasn't high stakes anything. Nothing was really like high, like even the money wasn't very high stakes.
No.
And I mean, like I get like it's 1993 and like, yeah, $5,000 was a lot more then, but like it wasn't like $1 million. It was $5,000.
Yeah.
Like you could maybe like put a down payment on like a house or a car or something with $5,000. Like that's not life-changing money. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know. Oh, like the stakes are $5,000. It's not a lot. I don't know. But you're right. Like if it had been, it's such a good example too. If they had just switched Keanu Reeves with Nick Cage for Speed, that would have been fucking insane.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted out of this movie, and I didn't get it, so I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also disappointed. But that's all I have to say.
Well, that's it, folks. We have a disappointing entry from Nick Cage and from the movie. But if you've been following along this far, thank you. We appreciate it so much. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate your patronage. We appreciate your sharing and liking these episodes. If you want to follow along, we are on Instagram at Not the Bees Pod. We are on Patreon at Not the Bees, and we are on all of your podcatchers, including YouTube. But for this week, I've been Elizabeth.
And I've been Megs.
And we'll catch you next time.